大家好，今天我们今要讨论一个人巴勒斯坦Tana. Yeah, I'm kidding. 是否利用具体疗效 Tricky Tony. 是否利用 But what is fingering in the prophecy? And why is Tricky Tony being fingered by Birdly and Temi Chang? Those are two things we're going to discuss in today's Deltarune theory. Now, to properly understand this theory, we have to go back to Undertale. As many of you may know, when you begin an Undertale game, you're set a fun value between 1 and 100. This determines many different things that can happen throughout the game, such as meeting WD Gaster. 大家好，今天我们今要讨论一个人巴勒斯坦Tana. Yeah, I'm kidding. 是否利用具体疗效 Tricky Tony. 是否利用 But what is fingering in the prophecy? And why is Tricky Tony being fingered by Birdly and Temi Chang? Those are two things we're going to discuss in today's Deltarune theory. Now, to properly understand this theory, we have to go back to Undertale. As many of you may know, when you begin an Undertale game, you're set a fun value between 1 and 100. This determines many different things that can happen throughout the game, such as, I don't know, I forgot. Such as getting a phone call from Sans. Although what many people might not know is that if you have a fun value of 99, you can actually get a special call from Asriel at the beginning of the game. This call from Asriel is absolutely requisite in understanding the fingering theory. As many of you may know, Tricky Tony started developing Deltarune in 2012, way before Undertale. We get a lot of hints and clues in the Undertale story to Deltarune, even though it's a parallel universe. In this call from Asriel, we hear many things, but most importantly is this quote. Asriel states,
"Just to be clear, I'm not a professional quote maker. I'm just an atheist teenager who greatly values his intelligence and scientific fact over any silly fiction book written 3,500 years ago. That being said, I am open to any and all criticism. In this moment, I am euphoric, not because of any phony God's blessing, but because I am enlightened by my own intelligence."
I think Asgore describes it best.
My son, he used to talk about Deltarune fingering theory.
But I know you're all asking the same question. How does this bring us back to Deltarune? Well, that's simple. Ralsei is actually Asriel. Now I know this may sound crazy, as it's been disproven time and time again, even from chapter 2, that Ralsei is not Asriel. But bear with me. I have unarguable evidence to dispute this fact. It is because they share a sibling named Togor Dreamer. A character that, if you remember the story of Undertale, was actually a victim in the fingering. The fingering, of course, being an event I don't need to explain as it is part of the main story of Undertale. The fingering isn't explicitly mentioned in Deltarune until chapter 2. To get more information on the fingering, you have to be on the idiosyncratic route, aka the weird route, aka the snowgrave route, aka the killing Birdly route, aka the fingering theory route. Now, after you obtain the ring in the idiosyncratic route, if you head back before giving it to Noel, you can go to the car where you can speak to Ralsei. But if you instead choose to stand next to the car, for 15 seconds, dialogue will play, and Ralsei will say something quite eerie.
"Togor, I miss you. I wish you were never fingeringed."
This could be shrugged off as nothing more than some strange reference, or Ralsei misremembering. Or Ralsei misremembering. Ralsei. Fuck off! This could be shrugged off as nothing, as in chapter 2 this didn't mean much and it took a while for people to even find this strange Easter egg. If you continue the Snowgrave route in chapter 2, then by the time you've gotten to chapter 3, you have a new option. You can abandon the Snowgrave route and instead pick up the Fingergrave route. This alternate story is more Ralsei focused, and you get to relive the events of the fingering. Now, it's important to note that fingering isn't canon to Deltarune and just Undertale, so how does this mean that Ralsei is Asriel from Undertale? Well, it's simple. Halfway through the fingering route, if you talk to Ralsei backstage after getting an S on both minigames, without Susie, you can hear the secret dialogue option.
Chris, there's something I must tell you. My real name is Ralsei Undertales. I am not from this game like you, but I am from the indie game Undertale 2015. My brother Togor, he was fingered.
You can reply to Ralsei with two options, not as Chris, not as the Soul, but as Kara from Undertale. You can say,
Ralsei, I remember you are fingered.
Or alternatively, you can reply saying,
Ralsei, I don't own Undertale.
But something creepy may happen. Tricky Tony Radiation Danganronpa Fox will actually check your PC to see if you own Undertale, and if you do, Ralsei will look at you. His eyes will turn static, and they'll bleed hyper-realistic blood, and he'll say,
I remember, you are fingered, Togor.
The game will crash, and you'll get an error message. X0013 Finger. Underneath is an attached phone number. Dialing this phone number will give you an eerie message from an unknown person.
Hello, my name is Ricky Tony. I was fingered by Berkeley and Demi Chang. If you want to know the earth behind the fingering lies in the website.
This is where the story gets a whole lot creepier and goes from just gameplay to theory. After the phone call ends, you'll be given a website to visit. However, I didn't call up the number because I was scared, so I didn't get the website and I can't go on it. So thank you for watching the video. This was the fingering Deltarune theory, and I hope you enjoyed.